So, hello everyone. My name is Sean Stone. I'm the founder of Spillover Commerce, and today we're going to talk about the spillover effect from Amazon onto your website and how to weaponize Amazon against itself. So, I have been advertising on Amazon as a job full-time since 2017, and last March I read Amazon's annual report, and I saw something that scared me a little bit. Amazon's ad business was growing 3 times faster than its retail business, and that shook me a little bit because that's not really good for the average e-commerce business owner. And so that kind of led me towards spillover commerce and thinking about different strategies and different ways that we can use Amazon to start selling more on our website. So that's what we're going to get into today, and that is the thesis of spillover commerce. So the spillover effect, how to sell more on your website by weaponizing Amazon against itself. Let's go. 88% of shoppers research products on Amazon, pretty much everybody. And that's a fact that you can't really do anything about, but there's a reason for it. It's because Amazon's the bottom of the funnel of the internet. No matter what you do, there is going to be people who end up coming from different parts of the internet onto your website, and there's going to be a lot of people who come to your website and then end up on Amazon. But if you do it right, you'll end up having people bounce back from Amazon onto your website. And that's really what we want to talk about today. So before we get into how we do that, we got to ask ourselves, why is this happening? Why are people going from your website to Amazon? The simple answer is trust. People trust Amazon's returns process, they trust their shipping, and they trust their payment processing. And to a lesser extent, they still trust their reviews more than most other places. So that's just a big factor of how it works on the internet. So let's look at an example. Lululemon has 176,000 searches a month on Amazon. That is gigantic. And they don't sell a single product themselves. It's all resellers. Think about that for a second. That is 176,000 opportunities for Lululemon to interact with a company or with a shopper, and instead they're letting resellers do it. I think that's a huge miss. But it's just the reality of the way that they've chosen to do business. And I think that if they had decided to own that experience, at least partially, they could be getting even more out of their channels. But just quick side note, if anyone wants me to do this for a brand, I've got all the tools on my laptop. So if you're like, hey, how many searches does this brand get or does my brand get? Come up to me afterwards. I would be happy to show you because it's just a quick search away from me. So how do we weaponize this? How do we weaponize all these searches of people searching your brand, people coming to your website, going to Amazon, and bouncing back? Well, first, you control what you sell. So you're not legally required to sell everything in your catalog on Amazon, and you're not even required to by Amazon's terms of service. So you just don't do it. Instead, you should choose SKUs strategically, focus on your margins, focus on what makes sense for your brand. And a lot of the time, you want to focus on what's a good entry point for your brand. So sure, okay, you have to sell some of your products on Amazon, but don't sell everything. Maybe if you're SodaStream, just sell the actual machine and don't sell the refills. There's lots of different ways you can do this, and we're going to get into a bunch of them. And the only other thing I want to call out about this is you might as well at least own the shelf on Amazon because there's a lot of people who are going to resell your products either way, so you might as well own that first interaction with a brand. Don't be Lululemon. So, enough theory. Let's look at some examples of companies that are doing this. Dyson. I love Dyson. We have a Dyson in my home, and I love what Dyson's doing here because they're weaponizing Amazon against themselves. What are they doing? They're taking their best product and only selling it on their website. This product right here, the V12, you cannot get this anywhere else because Dyson was smart enough to take a look at this and say, okay, this is a product that we're only going to sell on our website. Now, technically, there are people reselling it on other places. For example, this is an example of somebody reselling this product, but they're reselling this exact same product for $60 more. And I'm pretty sure what's happening is somebody is just putting this listing up on Amazon, and then when somebody actually clicks buy, the person who put this listing up is just buying it off of the Dyson website and shipping it to the person who bought it. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but that's just the way that it works. And that's the unfortunate reality of Amazon. And you're paying a $60 premium to use a website that you like a little bit more. So it's important to give shoppers a reason to buy on your website. Another example is SodaStream. So SodaStream likes, I'll show you what's happening first, and we'll talk about what this actually means. So what's happening here is SodaStream is selling their refills on Amazon for $66. And what happens is you buy this product, Amazon ships you a box with 2 refills, then you put your refills of used canisters back in the box, it ships back to Amazon, which then ships eventually back to their warehouse. What happens if you do it on their website? it costs $33 instead, which is kind of crazy to me, but that's just the way that their cost structure works. So what SodaStream is doing is, it's kind of unfortunate, yeah. It's kind of unfortunate that SodaStream doesn't put it all in one view, but yeah, if you do the math, yeah, it's about half the price. And what ends up happening is SodaStream is charging way less because they're doing something that Amazon can't. And that's another thing you can weaponize against them, is do something on your website that that Amazon can't do. And that's just another great way to give people a reason to come back and buy on your website instead of buying off the behemoth that is Amazon. So, as a reminder, control what you sell. Make sure you only sell your gateway drug SKUs. Make sure you focus on protecting your margins, and use the Amazon shelf to control the first brand experience that a lot of shoppers are going to have with you, instead of letting resellers control it, because that is the reality of selling on Amazon. So move number 2 is capturing and retargeting shoppers. And this is the entire flow. So this is for the people who just refuse to buy off of your website, because there's always going to be some people who just refuse to do anything except buy off of Amazon. And so what you want to do is you want to put a QR code in the packaging for any Amazon shoppers, which sends them to a dedicated landing page that only an Amazon shopper can find. So that's really the point of the QR code. You can't necessarily have a easy to find URL. Then you build a meta custom audience off of that and retarget shoppers with products that are not available on Amazon. This is incredibly powerful. This is a great way to convert shoppers who refuse to buy off of Amazon into somebody who does buy off your website, because you're just hitting them over and over and over again with reasons to buy off of your website. And we're going to get into some examples, some that are maybe against terms of service, some that are maybe not. So this is one from my life. I brought a supplement off of Amazon that is from the brand Onnit, and in their QR code, they sent me to a dedicated landing page that said, if you give us your address, your email, your phone number, we'll send you a completely free product. As you can see, the discount was 100%, and I got a free product. Now, this is not within Amazon's terms of service. You can get your account suspended for this, and then you can talk to my friend CJ Rosenbaum about getting your Amazon account back. CJ's in the crowd. But you shouldn't do this, but this is a way that brands do this, where they get somebody off of their Amazon account, off of buying on Amazon and used to buying from their website. Now, in this example personally, I actually ended up buying probably 4 different products from Onnit over the course of 6 months, because they retargeted me over and over and over again on Facebook. And then on top of that, they hit me with emails, they hit me with text messages, they reminded me about sales that were happening, and just in general, a lot of marketing just ended up in my personal everyday life, and I ended up buying more products. So this was a huge return on ad spend for them, and I got better prices on products. Now, another example that's definitely completely allowed within Amazon's terms of service is using something like a warranty. So one of the biggest electronics brands on Amazon is called Anchor. And what they do is they have shoppers go to their website, go to a dedicated landing page where you have to give them a bunch of information about yourself in order to get an extended warranty. And it works. People go there all the time. The one thing that Anchor doesn't do, and I don't know why they don't do it, because I've bought products from them, is they don't retarget you with products that are not available on Amazon, and they don't send you emails about the different product offers they have. That is the main playbook that this brand should be using, and it's one that I think a lot of brands can benefit from. So the hidden bonus that we obviously need to address is the fact that Meta drives Amazon. So as you start spending more and more money on Meta, it starts to lead to more and more branded searches on Amazon, which leads to more sales and more organic lift, which then sends more people back to your website if you're selling them the right gateway SKUs. So it's a spillover effect that kind of works in both directions, and it's one that I think is really important, especially for companies who are trying to maximize margins in these tougher times. So this is the full system. Selective Amazon SKUs, capture buyers off of Amazon, retarget them with website exclusives, and increase branded demand everywhere all at once. So I've been doing this for quite some time, and I made a quiz. So a lot of companies, when I show them this, they're like, this is cool, but what's the next step? Like, I didn't really want to come up here and kind of say, oh, come talk to me. I want to show you exactly how I can do this. So instead I made a quiz. If you want to kind of like check this out and evaluate your brand, say, hey, how is my brand doing on a bunch of different factors when it comes to weaponizing Amazon? You can scan this QR code, and it will take you to a quiz where you can kind of go through 15 questions or so, and it'll give you a bunch of information about how well you're doing with like a dedicated report that'll get emailed to you. So with that said, thank you guys all very much, and yeah.